So today we're going to talk about unity, and more specifically, EOSIO unity. So the unity between the different iterations of EOSIO, and why I think that's important, and what my plan is, and what the vision is behind that, and what you're seeing through various working groups, and or what you're seeing through one particular working group, the EOSIO Plus working group, why I believe that that is important. And then some tangibles around that as well, of what I mean by unity and why that's important if we're going to see EOS and run EOS as a business. So right now, what we've seen in EOS traditionally, or leading up to where we are today, is a big sense of tribalism between the different chains. There's very little that links the chains from a financial point of view for them to have worked together over the last couple of years. And so what we've seen is communities that diverged. There is overlap between the communities, but that have diverged and have essentially gone out in their own separate directions, and to a large extent have even focused their branding or have essentially created the narrative around their product in and or against EOS as the main, as a value proposition. And so part of why that happened was obviously due to circumstance and what was occurring in the ecosystem with the lacking of funding that was going out to entities outside of block production, in part because there was no worker proposal system on EOS. And so the function of building on EOS funded by the network did not exist outside of block production. And so when the block producer ranks changed, a lot of the teams by necessity started leaving and going elsewhere in order to continue working within the EOSIO ecosystem. And what that's done over the last 3 years is that we've formed pockets of expertise and knowledge outside of the EOS mainnet per se. And so each of these different iterations have, in a way, increased their skill set or increased their competencies in their particular subject matter expertise within that particular chain. And what we're trying to do now, or what I'm attempting to do now, specifically, for example, in the EOSIO Plus working group, is bringing back everybody together so that united, all of the EOSIO iterations can work towards a common goal, common vision, and defining what that looks like and what that could look like and who's at the table and how resources are being shared and how resources are being allocated. And even what I mean by resources is why it's so incredibly important to work towards a unified vision instead of working against one another. What I hear frequently is people within the EOS community right now saying that EOS is footing the bill for these initiatives and that that is at the detriment of EOS. And I want to make it very clear that that is the wrong way of looking at things. EOS funding initiatives that benefit all EOSIO iterations is a business decision that is being made because I strongly believe that that is the path towards bringing more value for the EOS token holders and the EOS ecosystem as a whole, so that everybody benefits. And I will argue that we have never attempted to do so. So there are also people that will mention that we've attempted to do this in the past where other entities have focused on EOSIO, and that we didn't see returns and only a, let's say, a value drain on the EOS token holders. I argue that we have never attempted to do this. This has never actually occurred. The other chains have not been united alongside EOS. This is arguably the first time that this happens. And what we're seeing right now is really interesting because the different chains have different value propositions, but they also bring different things to the table. So a concrete example is that in EOSIO Plus right now, the members that are associated to the Telos Foundation and or the Telos Core Developer Group and or block producers on Telos are showing up and are doing a lot of the workload. They are taking on the files. They are doing the human resource, the time add-on that they can provide based on their expertise and based on what they've learned. And that is value added to the rest of the group. And so EOS, for example, is the one footing the initial bill, and EOS has committed $250,000 worth of tokens for that group to build a treasury. But other chains are coming together to also bring about what they can contribute to that group, which may inevitably be a financial component, but also time resource component or human resource type of component, as well as potential intellectual property, developer side of things. So we've got the different variables that are going to come into play that will come and benefit EOS ecosystem as a whole, but also the EOS project itself, or the EOS mainnet, if we want to call it that. And so this unity is by design. It is a better business decision for us to work together and leverage off of each other our own specific competencies and expertise for the betterment of the group. Having said that, doing so is going to be more difficult than going in our separate directions. Going in our separate directions is what essentially we've done over the last 3 years, and we've seen where those faults lie, and we've seen how that is somewhat limited in the value creation for everybody as a whole. And so for the first time, we are moving seemingly in a common direction. We're looking at what that would look like and what that would be comprised of and how we would figure that out. But it is happening right now. And so I really want to stress that the idea that the other chains or the other iterations are getting something without contributing anything is flawed. That is not the case. These other chains are contributing, and some individuals are contributing, some projects are contributing, and that is worth something to the EOS token holders in exchange. And the more that we can work on unity and the more that we can share a common path, the better it will be for everybody. It is a business decision. This is what we want to do. If you remove all emotions from the mix, this is the better move. What do you think?